Okay, before we begin, my name is Sitecore. I'm working for Fab as a service owner for marketing and customer experience. So basically, I'm a martech professional and customer experience professional. I have 16 plus years of experience in IT. More than 6 years of experience in delivering Sitecore solutions overall. This is my contact details, and if anybody has any queries, you can please reach out to me through this. Okay, so let's see the current challenges with the traditional CMS. So first of all, it is monolithic, right? Our friend covered already, and he has already covered the points I would like to cover, in fact, in the upcoming slides. But thank you. Sorry. No worries. Yeah. So as we all know, the legacy CMS is basically a monolithic platform. The stake is completely huge, combining all the business modules together. Okay, so it's tightly integrated basically, so into a single platform or maybe a couple of platforms. Okay, so that is making the entire CMS, legacy CMS, as a monolithic one. So now on top of that, as we all know, like the front end, the assets, media, and the back end code, everything is tightly coupled. And again, this is one more challenge on top of the monolithic architecture, right? So because of this monolithic and the coupled architecture or orchestration, there is no agility in terms of with the traditional CMS, right? So that is another challenge. And with all these nodes, obviously, the time to market is a very challenging one for any traditional CMS, right? So when we are talking about these many challenges, another important points I want to cover here is the steep learning curve associated to the any traditional CMS, right? It's forget about the developers or the delivery team, but even for the content authors, they have to go through a lot of steep learning curves, basically to understand the content update and publishing concept, right? So that is big challenge, another big challenge. So with all this, obviously by default, it is going to affect the scalability because of the orchestration again. Okay, so these are the current challenges with the traditional CMS. So as you can see here in the global web index source, is the most popular devices in the US is currently the tablets and smartphones, okay, over laptops. So all this has been changed in the last decades drastically. So because of this, we are not able to focus and deliver and target any specific devices, right? So this is causing a lot of challenges as a marketer in any field, irrespective of the financial services. Any sectors will have the challenge there as a marketer, digital marketer. So we have to try to target more channels, and as you can see in the last point, the statistical report says by 2025 they are forecasting 75 millions of IoT devices will be in the market. Okay, so this is huge in numbers. So with all this, the traditional CMS won't work or help us anymore. Okay, so now we'll see what is headless CMS offering for us. So first of all, whatever the problem statement we have covered, right, in the traditional CMS. So the solution for all the traditional CMS issue is we can address through the headless CMS. Okay, there is a primary solution for all the problems. So what it does, basically, the headless CMS is decoupling the architecture into two different sections. So primarily as a content and the presentation. So this content and presentation enables the marketers to target omnichannel out of the box. So this is the primary reason for moving to headless. So when we have the content and presentations are segregated, the content team or the development team, delivery team can work in parallel, which will by default increasing the agility of the team, right, delivery team, to meet the business requirement. So when we are talking about the decoupling, so we have to connect all the dots. So the connecting dots here is the API, as he covered already the MAC architecture, right, proposed by the CEO, Sitecore CEO. That is going to help us to connect all this decoupling architecture. So the headless CMS. So we discussed about the traditional CMS and now the headless CMS, but the world has changed again a lot, and the number of omni-channel we have to target and the challenges we are going to see in the upcoming slides, okay, the financial sectors are facing currently, is not going to solve the problem with the only headless solutions, headless CMS. Okay, so let's see what are the problem challenges currently the financial sectors are going through. Okay, one by one. So how many of here from financial sectors, financial services? Okay. Okay. So unfortunately, the financial services is not like other sectors. Okay. So there will be a lot of internal bureaucracy we have to go through before making and delivering anything for business. Okay. So that is the primary challenge for the financial services. Okay. So the administrative process, the challenges, the complexity of the change management process, and all will have a lot of put a lot of pressure and restriction to deliver any content or the campaigns to the market. Okay, so that is a primary challenge any financial services are facing currently. The next one is the external regulatory requirements. So the one side it's internal challenges, the other side, since we are dealing with the financial transactions and customer data, we are restricted to handle, think, and deliver each and every requirement from business. Okay, so from the business perspective, marketing perspective, they may think like it is a simple thing to do and deliver and go live. So when some other organizations are able to do outside our world, why can't we do the same thing? So the challenge here is each and everything has to go through the lot of scrutinized process to make the call, final call, before making it. Like for example, the GDPR, CCPA, and the e-privacy, and even nowadays in the Central Bank Dubai has put the consumer protection regulatory requirement. So all this are a lot of challenges in front of the Financial Services Institute as a marketer. Okay. So apart from this internal and the external challenges, we do have our own challenges with the internal IT teams. Okay. So with the traditional CMS, the way it is orchestrated, right, the architecture of the monolithic architecture will have a lot of dependency on the IT infra and the IT services team. So for each and every release we are making to the promoting from the lower environment to production has to go through the lot of IT validation, and the dependent teams are there. Okay, so it is not like we from the delivery team from the Sitecore side can publish directly anything to the live. Right? So it has to pass through the multiple teams, middleware teams, because of the nature of integration with the other core systems. Okay? So this is another challenge. So many of us, I can see a lot of developers here from Sitecore side. The biggest challenge in financial services who are working as a developer, Sitecore developer, they have a lot of restriction on the tools. So they cannot have the Visual Studio latest version. They cannot use the TDS or any other supporting tool. They cannot just like that use some JavaScript library or framework like React or Next.js, just like that. It has to go through the TDS CISO process before even we are adopting that library or technology or tools. Okay, so we are restricted with a lot of tools in financial sectors. Okay, this is another challenge for developers and designers. As I already covered, so the overall IT process of change management is tedious and lengthy. Okay, so with all this restriction, finally, we have the very good product at hand with very limited usage. So in real world, most of the financial sectors or financial services institutes are just using the CMS just to manage the content and assets. So going beyond, exploring beyond that is always a challenge because of all these challenges, whatever I have described here. Okay, let's see why we need Sitecore here as a solution. Okay, sorry. So, excuse me, it seems like something missing here. Can you hear me? Is this the latest slide? Is this the latest slide?
Just keep going that way.
No, it's missing.
Do you want to have a look at it on there again?
Yeah, I don't know.
And then
Can you scroll? I'll scroll up. Scroll up.
no, you've done that one.
I done that one.
That one.
Okay, yeah, fine.
This one.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
There you go.
Thank you. Okay, so we have covered the challenges of the traditional CMS as well as the challenges as a marketer we are going through the financial sectors, right? Financial institutes. Let's see how Sitecore is helping with the latest technology offering from the product list. So any big brands need a reliable service provider and the platforms to serve our customers and users, right? So that is where the Sitecore is coming as a savior, right? So Sitecore has shifted from the traditional web content management system to headless CMS, and it didn't stop at evaluation. So it is going beyond the web content management to DXP a few years back, and with the digital experience platform, they didn't stop it. So they still evolving and acquiring a lot of other cloud native products, okay, to bring and create the ecosystem, cloud ecosystem naturally for adopting any sectors irrespective of the financial sectors. But the good thing is in financial sectors, as we just saw the challenges, right? So one of the major challenges IT dependencies and the issue with the overall regulatory requirement and the internal regulations, right? So when we are moving from on-prem infrastructure to cloud, by default we are getting away from the dependency. We are trying to avoid a lot of dependency from the IT side, and everything is nowadays in a SaaS model, as he covered already, covered in the previous slides. So the SaaS model is helping us a lot compared to the on-prem or even PaaS. So that is a primary reason nowadays financial institutes are looking for are exploring the technologies and moving towards clouds to get out of the traditional way of doing things, right? So with the Sitecore DXP, we are already progressing and moving to the cloud. So let's see like what is Sitecore CMS is offering, or headless CMS or DXP is offering. Okay, so any CMS must be an enterprise ready. So with the basic and fundamental functions and modules should be part of the core platform, and it should act as a hub instead of keeping it as a monolithic. And as a traditional CMS, the monolithic architecture itself is causing a lot of challenges for any financial institutes, because the complexity associated to implement, deliver any features, and even promote to the production, right? So these are the challenge. So when it is coming as a hub, right? So it is out of the box, get away from the monolithic architecture. So that is the primary reason we have to adopt to the Sitecore. And the Sitecore hub, since it is providing the Mac architecture, adopting the Mac architecture, integrating with the core systems, any bank core systems like CRM or core systems, it is easy, and out of the box, it should allow us to implement. Then we all might heard about the cookieless challenges, right? So nowadays, the big brands like Apple, Safari, iOS, and Google are planning to eliminate from third-party cookies, right? So the cookie-less world is, I think in 2022, most of the browsers will get away from the third-party cookies, which is critical for any marketers, for any remarketing and marketing purpose. So the cookieless should be part of the core features with this Sitecore, sorry, CMS, right? So Sitecore is already offering with that. And consent management is one more options should be out of the box with the CMS, any CMS and DXP program. So as already highlighted, the main primary challenge is depend on IT. So when the DXP and we are moving to the SaaS or cloud-based solutions, by default we are able to get away from the IT dependency, and when we are choosing a new DXP or any CMS, headless CMS, doesn't matter, but it has to balance between the marketers as well as the IT security. So without IT security, it is impossible to implement and deliver and meet the business requirement at the financial sectors, institutes. Okay, so it has to be balanced. It should by default out of the box, it should address the core security issues, and it should be easy to customize and to launch the campaigns and targeting multiple touch points and channels. Of course, when we are moving away from the internal IT dependency, by default, it should offer us the flexibility for both designer, developer, or even the content author with a lot of frameworks and choice of their own tools when we are moving to cloud. So it should be author focused, because with the current traditional CMS and the way it is designed, the authors cannot focus and they have to go and use a lot of big components and depend on the big components to even make a small changes, right? So the new DXP should offer focused content author focused tool and platform for any to make any changes in no time, right? So that is another important points we are expecting from CMS. Sitecore is already offering, and it should be future proof. The AAML is already the capabilities of AA and ML is already part of the Sitecore, and with, as we all know, the metaverse fever, right? So when I saw the symposium videos, I noticed Sitecore is content hub, if I'm not wrong. It's already offering the 3D file format, I believe, right? So they are already started to adopt the VR and AR technologies, right? So that is for future. With all this, Sitecore is the best fit for us to move, for any financial institutes to move away from the traditional CMS, not only traditional CMS, but to the cloud. So that is more important. So that is where the Sitecore is helping us through the DXP platform. So again, these all are the points already covered. Any queries? Was a boring. No queries? Okay. No problem.
I was just going to say, I'll just grab this mic. If anyone has any questions before we cut for the first break, we can get them answered now. Gonzalo?
Yes, Gonzalo.
Sorry, I'll put you on the spot.
No worries.
No, I think, great presentation again about the Sitecore technology. What I want to ask you is more community related. How important is it that you have, technology proven, that fits a highly regulated sector like you are involved in, but also what is the community bringing in terms of know-how that allows you to know all of this and implement best practices and actually achieve your goals? How is that? How does that feel, being part of the community when it comes to an enterprise solution like Sitecore?
Yeah, great question, Gonzalo. So of course, any platform or any solution without the its community, it is impossible to achieve the great stuff, right? The deliver. So because the people mind will work differently. So we need a lot of ideas from the community. So whenever we are trying to, even before we are, okay, before I answer your question, so I'll just give some background about the how we adopted Sitecore initially. Okay, so I was part of the fab and evaluated a couple of CMS, traditional CMS, along with Sitecore initially 6 years before. And when we chose Sitecore as a platform for us to drive the marketing and CMS, basically for CMS, and now we are targeting to marketing products. Okay, so the primary reason, one of the primary reason was the community. So the community here in the local regions are helping a lot, whether it is a Sitecore or the other partners and agencies who all are well matured in on the platform knowledge and the ongoing the online, whether it is online virtual event or the physical event like this, and even the symposium. So from the symposium only I got to know a lot of update recently on these products actually. So the product announcement and everything. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Joyce, you have a quick question?
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to answer this now. You can think about it. I wonder, I wonder whether what I was particularly struck by your presentation was not that there was any ambiguity around the importance of headless and you know, or the back architecture, etc. That's the future, but the complexity of the challenge you have in changing a organisation. I wonder if you could just speak a little bit about that in terms of that feels like the biggest challenge you have is actually getting the organisation ready for headless rather than doing some coding and such like. Is that a fair assessment? I wonder if you just talk a little bit.
No, I get the point, but unfortunately I cannot talk more on that topic. That's the reason I'm trying to avoid that one. Okay, because of the bank and the financial sector's restrictions and challenges. Okay, your question is primarily on the how we adapted to headless, correct?
You used a certain methodology or a certain approach in order to go?
Yeah, see, I'll touch in a very high level. Okay, so with the traditional CMS architecture, right? When we have the CDs and CMs servers, okay, as we all know, Sitecore guys, we know like what I'm talking. So the CDs, CM servers basically restrict ourselves, okay, with the number of the delivery we are planning to make each and every sprint. Okay, so first of all, it is not supporting the agile, right? So when we are delivering something, it has to go through the tedious process. First, we have to deploy it in CM, and we have to make sure all the security protocols are followed in the CM. Then post that, we have to promote to CD, and each CD is we have to bring it like each and every time when we are trying to deploy it in the CDs, right? So we cannot easily apply the DevOps CI/CD pipelines just like that because of the nature of the other IT dependencies and the middleware dependencies. Okay, and moreover, at Fab we are using Sitecore as a primary content hub, okay, for powering whether it is a mobile banking or internet banking or the website. So we are already targeting 3 channels with the Sitecore technology, even with the traditional CMS. Okay, but all this, when we are growing, the business demand is high. We are unable to meet with the current architecture. That is how we decided initially to move away from the internal on-prem system to cloud. So the moment you are moving to cloud, and we carefully chose managed cloud premium rather than the PaaS. Okay, so because we do have our own tenant in the Azure, Microsoft Azure, but however we would like to go with a managed cloud. So because the managed cloud is not only addressing the core problem of PaaS, but on top of that, it is taking care of the IT operation away from our internal teams, right? So that is primary reason. So that is a primary challenge we are going through. So when we are taking our IT operation away from the internal team, by default, this is acting as a SaaS. So you just explained about the SaaS product over PaaS, right? But we are already, it is kind of SaaS only. So by promoting this approach, taking this approach, we are moving from the traditional on-prem method to not only PaaS, but already it's a kind of SaaS with the managed cloud. So that is helping us to fast track the delivery. For example, in the past, if we used to deliver almost 2 to 3 sprints it will take to deliver any changes, whether it is a minor or medium or complex changes. But with this approach, the managed cloud and the latest, we are trying to plan optimize with the DevOps pipeline. So we are able to cut short into 2 weeks or maximum 4 weeks. So that is the biggest advantage when we are moving away from this traditional on-prem platform to the managed cloud.